great
carving
inn.
out at the
Yeah.
start.
So I've just come in to meet Graham in town, and I'm in an interview.
Yeah.
We are the two Grahams.
We
I'm
are.
Graham Massey.
And I'm Graham Clark.
And yeah, and you, Paul Banks.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Paul.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. And so, we've known each other since the 70s, haven't we?
Yep. I think probably 76.
Yeah.
I certainly remember seeing you around in 75.
Right, yeah, because we used to spot each other at sort
Yeah.
of concerts and things back in the Free Trade Hall days and all that.
I never understood the symbolism of the pickled onion.
No. You try getting on the 192 with a pickled onion rotating above your head. Well, that's another story.
But why was the battery so heavy?
Those were my dad's batteries from... They used to have them batteries to power the telephone in your hallway.
Really?
Yeah, and they used to last like 5 years because they were like this big. They were the size of milk bottles, and you had 4 of them, and he just had loads of them. So if you put them in a gas mask case,
Which he did.
and wire it up
To a little motor.
On a frame on your bobble hat, and suspend a pickled onion in a jar underneath it, it rotates in the opposite direction.
To the propeller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gyroscopically sort of physics and the rotation
So
of the Earth.
that was what it was all about.
Flying through space.
It was a
at millions of
physics
miles an
experiment.
hour. Yeah.
I didn't realise.
Yeah. But get on the 192 with it and you're asking for trouble.
Well, either that or they'll keep away from you.
Yeah.
I was quite drawn, actually.
But we were the freaks, weren't we, back then? Yeah. It was important to be the freaks.
It was important to be the freak. But we didn't realise we were freaks, we just did it.
Yeah. It was a tribe.
Yeah.
Things were more tribal back then.
Yeah, but we didn't, we weren't, even though it was a kind of tribe, we didn't all look the same. You didn't all wear the same stuff. I mean, yeah, you get your cheesecloth shirts and your embroidery and your velvet loons.
Yeah.
But you also had people with things like, just like weird leather jackets and long Afghan coats and...
Yeah, I had an Afghan coat, and my mother used to make me keep it in the coal shed.
It
I mean, yeah, it stunk, especially when you've been on your bike in the pouring rain. It absolutely stunk. So that lived in the coal shed, and you used to have to take it off and leave it there every night.
Wet goat.
Yeah.
It smelled of wet goat. But they were very... Yeah, and we used to buy the clothes shops. Like there was the underground market, the market centre.
On Market Street, yeah.
Just off Market Street.
Oasis.
Yeah.
Downstairs.
Yeah.
And there was, obviously there was, on the 8th day, for certain sorts of things.
Oh, where was that on the 8th day? Was that?
It was
It's kind of where it is now,
Yeah.
more or less.
Is that still
It
going?
might have shifted a couple of shops up.
I think they've added them. I think they've still got the original shop, but they bought them bought either side as well,
Yeah.
and it's just become it's almost like a supermarket now, isn't it?
Yeah. And we used to go there and have cheese salad on a Saturday afternoon when Graham was forcing us all to be vegetarian.
I didn't
We
become...
were experimenting with being vegetarian.
I'll tell you what, I loved the cashew cream and plum crumble. That was the best. Cashew cream.
Wow.
Do you not remember?
They were pretty ahead of the times
They were
because this
great.
was like, mid-70s, it wasn't like health food shops were everywhere, was it? You know what I mean?
No, it was very rare. It was freaks food.
Yeah. So, that was an important place on the 8th day. You
Well,
used to go and buy your spiritual sky joss sticks.
Yeah. And whatever else, your banana flavoured skins.
Banana flavoured Rizzlers.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. And they sold some records and they had, but you had next door to that you had Grassroots. That was like alternative bookshop.
Yeah, very important shop. That.
Massively important. It started off in Chorlton Medlock on Carmel Road, round the back of where I used to live as a child. And I remember looking in the window and my mum thinking it was pornography and pulling me away. But it wasn't, it was just hippie books. But politics of all kinds, mysticism and religion of all kinds, philosophy of all kinds. It was where you could get the knowledge that you couldn't get in normal bookshops.
Yeah.
And you would bump into people that weren't the usual people you bump into.
I definitely had left. It was very lefty, wasn't
Left
it?
and Anarcho.
Well, being in Manchester, that was, they had to double the size of that bookshop, and it moved to Newton Street, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it became
But-
2 floors.
Yeah, because it started off, say, in Toronto Medlock, then it went to All Saints, because that strip. But what else was there? A little further up, there was there was Shanty, a shop called Shanty that had loads of sort of Indian things like those leather
Yeah, I got
sandals.
some, important finger cymbals and,
Yeah.
and a flute from there. Things like that that were important to try and insert into your music at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just amazing, because, I was explaining about the Wonkavator and how you put...
That's a genius name. That.
It is a genius name, but he's good at names.
It was. I was really obsessed with this musician called Airto. Do you know, a Brazilian musician?
Moreira?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was a Brazilian musician. And actually, I'd seen it was his birthday the other day, and he's in his 80s now. And ACR had put up a post about him, and he's really important to those musicians as well. It's about colour and texture and everything. That was really important to me. And then, so I used to collect percussion. A bit further up from on the F day was what was the music shop that's where the Polly is under the bridge now? Was that
Mark Chapman, Stock and Chapman's.
Stock and Chapman?
Stock and Chapman's.
Yeah.
Where are you talking about?
Where's Mamalocks?
Mamalocks, that was on the corner of Deansgate.
Yeah.
and
Oxford Road was pure music shop.
Barrett's.
Yeah, Barrett's.
There were 2 Barrett shops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the A1,
Yeah.
of course.
There was just a whole load. You could do a whole circuit of Manchester around music shops, whereas there's just one left now, which is Johnny Roadhouse.
And Chase.
Oh yeah, and Chase
Chase,
across the
come on.
Chase
Mr.
question mark. Yeah.
Oh no, it's proper.
Yeah. Well, Chase was important for 808 State because they had this special synthesizer that is on some of our big hits called the Crumar Bit 1 or the Bit 99, and that was the only shop in the UK that imported them.
Was it?
Yeah. And without them, we wouldn't have those big clanging rave riffs.
Yeah.
Does Mr. Singh know that?
No, he doesn't know.
I think we should go and tell him.
It's the same guy.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
He was saying the other day he was thinking of retiring, and then somebody came to buy some batteries. He said, "No, I'm not going to retire."
It was on the market, and you could have a look round on the internet, and you got those estate agent things, and you can follow it through. It's gigantic in there. The upstairs and it extends to the back. It's like a warehouse,
Well, I think it is a warehouse.
Yeah.
It's just all that. It was so in those shops and the circuit, like you say. This was a Saturday afternoon for us. We go to the music shops, we go to the record shops, we go on the 8th day, and when we were a little bit older, we might go to the Salisbury for a pie and a pint. We go to Yanks Records.
I was going to ask you about that. When did that open, Yanks? Is that going in the 70s?
Yeah.
Probably early 80s, maybe, I think.
No, because I remember buying... right, so the first time I heard Frank Zappa was on a Sunday night at the Phoenix. So the Phoenix was a pub that had a room upstairs for dancing. And
Opposite the Royal Northern College of Music. It's part of the university precinct.
Yeah, where they knocked down that bridge. The bridge that went across Oxford Road?
Yeah.
They've knocked that down.
Yeah.
It was in there. And I think it was a Sunday night. You could bring any album you wanted, and the DJ would play a track, whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And it was a big circular dance floor. And Hempsaw said, I've got something I want you to dance with me on. And I said, oh, all right then. And he puts on this Frank Zappa, A Kid and His Half. It goes from 11/8 to 7/8 to 2/4. It's I managed to catch it, but I just thought, that's amazing. I'd never heard Zappa before.
Yeah.
And I said, where did you get that? He said, Yanks Records. So the next weekend I was down there, because what Yanks used to do, they used to sell deleted albums that had been taken back or discontinued, American ones, and they'd clip a little bit of the corner out to say that it was deleted, like a remaindered book.
Yeah.
And you could go to Yanks and you could get albums that would be incredibly expensive as an import, dirt cheap because they were deleted. It's fantastic, wasn't it?
There was a whole bunch of places around Manchester that did deletions. I remember there was a whole bunch of Sun Ra albums that came out with the corners cut off.
Yeah.
And I was surprised how many of my friends had gone for them, you know, being really cheap, you know. And so when Sun Ra came to the Royal Northern College of Music, and I was expecting about, you know, 50 people or something, and it was rammed. You know, there was a whole tribe.
How long ago was that?
It was early 80s, 81, I think,
right.
you know. And yeah, so these cheap records have formed a scene in around music interest in Manchester. You know?
I think that was true also for Can, Faust, and of course Camembert Electric for
Yeah,
Gong.
yeah.
I mean, they were lost leaders. They weren't deleted, but they were really cheap. You know, Virgin Records put them out at 50, 60 pence when an album was £2.
Yeah, the thing was that they were the price of an album for the price of a single.
That was it.
The thing, yeah.
That was the binding.
And that's kind of what joined us together originally, isn't it? Because we both had Camembert Electric by Gong.
Yeah.
And gradually, we went to the concerts, and we just got speaking about music and everything. And I met somebody at school.
Colin.
Yeah, who invited me into Graham's band. And that was very daunting because, like, Graham played the violin and I came in as a violin player. So my approach was a little bit more untrained, shall we say.
More like Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, a bit avant-garde. So we had a sort of band that had 2 violins in it.
I didn't play much violin.
No, you didn't.
I left that to you.
Yeah. And we did our first concerts. Have you covered all this in that?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
You said about the bagpiper.
Yeah. So we did concerts around Levenshulme, basically. And there was a lot of like sort of youth club type places.
Community halls.
Yeah, community centres, and you know. And this was around about the time the punk was just coming in as well. So we had these odd gigs where it was like might be Crispy Ambulance and then another punk band as well, you know. And
it was all of us. We didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't really tribal in that separated sense. You know, we were all connected.
Yeah.
Connected by the neighbourhood, really. You know, it was like old community centres with community music.
I
in
think
it,
we were
but,
also
yeah.
inspired by Here and Now doing the free tours, though.
Yeah.
That was quite a big inspiration.
I would say that being a little bit later, but maybe it wasn't.
It wasn't, because I went to some of those gigs before I went to university, and I went in '78.
Yeah.
So I'd have gone '77. The first time we saw them was '78, when the Planet Gone with David.
Yeah, and you missed.
No, Salford University. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, it was You Missed, and then they played without David at Salford.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and UMIS was the kind of important gathering place. On the Saturday night, there used to be a disco. Did you used to go to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about the UMIS discos with some guy the other night, and I said, "Oh, do you remember the fact that in the bar you used to have the Nigerian disco on a Saturday night and the freak disco on the Saturday night, and the two worlds met in the bar kind of thing."
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, and they had all these brilliant sort of shark skin suits. They're really dressed up, the sort of Nigerian UMIS students.
They'd all be like very, very well off.
And these pointy shoes, these fantastic kind of, pointy shoes. And it was like two worlds that collided on a Saturday night. I totally remember it. Yeah.
I used to go to both. I used to go for a little while to UMIS, and then if I got fed up with that, I'd go across to the Poly.
Yeah, and
go to the Poly.
Yeah, the Poly was a really important disco. They had a real alternative disco on a Thursday night, which was all kind of a bit more new wave and punk and everything. And then they had a disco with Mick Hucknall, where he was the DJ kind of thing. Yeah,
didn't know that.
Yeah, he had more of a soul and R&B kind of disco.
What year was he doing that?
Early 80s again, I think. Yeah.
So you have to remember that I left in '78, and I didn't really come back until '93. I mean, I visited, obviously, but I didn't spend a lot of time back in Manchester till '93. So there's a good 15 years of my not being part of the Manchester thing.
Well, we kind of kept in touch.
We certainly did, yeah. I mean, I used to come over, and I came in the first few years. I went with Hempsaw, saw Throbbing Gristle. Went to see Throbbing Gristle.
At the factory?
Yeah.
The PSV?
And Iggy Pop
Wow.
and Joy Division.
Wow, where did you see that?
Oh, these are the factory gigs.
Oh, the PSV?
Yeah, PSV
Wow.
Club. First time we went, I had a bit of hash with me, and I found a wall. I was so paranoid. I found a wall with a little hole in it at the back of one of the pubs in Rusholme, and I put my hash in this hole in the wall because I didn't want to
Like a squirrel.
like a squirrel, yeah. And
Why did you do that? Because you thought you were going to get...
yeah, I was just
Things were more paranoid back then.
yeah, because you could get done. I mean, and you know the stop and search thing, long hair, no shoes, you know, velvet.
That's true.
Velvet.
We used to walk around
Barefoot?
with
Barefoot,
like
yeah.
pink Wranglers on
pink
and
jeans.
bare feet. And he, like one day he trod on a bee.
Well, that was that.
You tried on a what?
I trod on a bee. Well, the thing was, I was talking about, we'd gone over the park to discuss my future in the band.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I was going to university, and Colin's dad was being a bit kind of trying to get it all a bit more businessy, and Colin was into it.
You're not really committed, you're going to university.
That's pretty much what he said. I said, what shall I do? What shall I do? He said, well, you're going to university, aren't you? And that's when I trod on the bee.
It was an omen.
It was an omen. Well, I just accepted it then. But I was worried for the bee.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Whereas we were all like, yes, I'm going to have a music career. And, you know, totally clueless kind of thing. And I used to go into the careers office all the time going like, what do you want to do? Like, you know, so I want to be in music. It's like, they just get laughed out the building, you know.
Well, they're not laughing
Or
now.
they're not laughing now.
We all know.
Yeah.
So you know, I used to get stopped when I was living in Brighton. I used to get stopped and searched all the time. So that was why I was paranoid.
Yeah.
Because I got stopped with long hair, you know, and all that. And as Hensel and I were walking into Hume to go to the PSV, this bunch of lads started shouting and running after us and throwing half bricks and sticks.
Oh, you had the half bricks?
Yeah.
Right, we had the half bricks. We went to see Eraserhead at the Arden in Hume,
Yeah.
which was like this independent cinema in the middle of nowhere. And there was always a bunch of kids. It's like, look after your car, mister. You know, which is a fine Manchester tradition kind of thing. And then, you get chased out of Hume with like people lobbing bricks at you. It was like, what was that?
Well, I don't know.
Is it because you have no shoes on and
No, I think
pink
it's just.
Wranglers?
I think no, I think it was just anyone was fair game, you know.
Yeah, it was
a
you had
game.
to, you know, get your adrenaline up before
Well, we did
you
run.
went under that subway,
Yeah.
under the Mancunian Way kind of thing, and it's like, right, we're entering a different world now, you know.
This is the Badlands.
Yeah.
I bet that was mad when the Razorhead came out.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, I think I've watched it. I think I've only watched it once. I was like, what the fuck have I just watched?
Never seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
It stayed with me for days,
Well,
for weeks.
Yeah, but that cinema was great. I remember we went to see this Andy Warhol film called, I think it was called Empire. And it's just the Empire State Building for 24 hours. They just set up a camera, film the Empire State. And the film is 24 hours long.
Is it 24 hours on film?
Yeah, I went to some exhibition in Amsterdam only a few months ago, and they had it. It was an exhibition of New York experimental films, and it was there showing. But you know, you weren't expected to sit in the seat. We took like a Tupperware and a flask and everything. And we lasted 2 hours.
Did you have a blanket?
We did 2 hours and then escaped into Hume.
But
Well, it really hard.
one of
Yeah.
the things that was really, really amazing about that little crew was the fact that you'd go to experimental film things. You were listening to avant-garde exploratory music. You know, we were interested in. It wasn't like, you know, Bay City Rollers and, you know, Rod
Yeah,
Stewart.
I mean, and it was there was places for it. I remember there's this brilliant club called the Beach Club. I don't know if you ever went there.
I think I did. I think you did. Didn't you do Beach Surgeon there?
Yeah. And there was it was in Fufu Lamar had bought this club originally. It was called Oozits in Shude Hill. It's not there anymore. It's kind of where the print works is kind of thing. And he bought this club as his first club, and he had to do food in there, and like so it always smelt like sort of like curries and things that they were making and stuff. and it had loads of pictures of wrestlers and loads of glitzy curtains. You know, it was like proper Phoenix Nights vibe kind of thing. And then he bought his bigger club on where was his other club?
So opposite Tariff Street.
It was near Tariff Street, more towards Piccadilly Station kind of thing. And that's when it became like a sort of destination for Manchester United players and Coronation Street stars and all that, because it was a bit more chicken in a basket and glamorous, you know. Yeah. But his original one was Right Dive. And New Hormones, the punk label that put out the Buzzcocks records, Spiral Scratch, things like that, they took it on as a monthly club. And in fact, New Order did their first gig there.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Did you go to it?
No, I didn't go to that one, no. And there's a legend that U2 turned up and got turned away or something as well when they were starting out. And but it was my favourite club, that, because they had, on one floor they were showing experimental cinema. See, nothing changes, we're still doing that now.
Still,
yeah. And but that was before the Corner House and Home and all those kind of places where you could see alternative cinema, you know. Yeah. So it was really important, you know. And then loads of weirdo bands upstairs, and it was just it felt really fecund, you know what I mean? That was really a bit rich.
Would that have been a little bit later?
No, it's like 70, 79, 80.
Yeah, I'd gone.
Oh right, yeah. Okay.
I'd already gone.
Yeah.
Did it run for a while at the Beach Club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard of it, but all I know is that New Order played there, and then someone commented on one of my YouTube videos and said that it used to be cinema alternative movies.
Pre-Hacienda.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, you know, a lot of people turned up for it, but it was a pokey little place with like a New York fire escape on the outside of it, and it had flavour. Yeah, it's great. But you know, we like just did loads of gigs, didn't we? Like Free Trade Hall, 50 pence.
75 pence I think it was to see Gong, that 1974.
One
of the weirdest gigs I ever went to. I loved the idea of going to see Robbie and Trower, you know, great British blues player. But the guy who was doing the support was John Miles. Music was my first love.
Wow.
It's just like, what a contrast. This was...
nobody matched support bands, did they? They were just quite random. And classically, the Sex Pistols at the Lesser Free Trade Hall had this band from Bolton who did covers of that band Mountain, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that supported?
Yeah, it was like some prog band on with the Sex Pistols.
Was it?
Yeah, because I think the Buzzcocks that might have put it on just knew them from Bolton Tech or something
But those guys, I mean, they all liked everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't. I mean, people talk about them, you know, sort of trying to give the fingers to prog rock and the two complete, you know, the complexity of the time. But they all listened to it.
Yeah, I remember our friend, we keep saying Hempsall. This is Alan Hempsall from Crispy Ambulance.
Is that the guy who comes to the Rainy Heart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he walked past me. I was queuing outside the Palace Theatre to see a band called Supercharged from Liverpool. And he would walk past with my mate Nick Barney I was at school with. And they said, he showed me the flyer for the Sex Pistols thing, you know. He was like, oh, we're going here, kind of thing. I was like,
but he used to go around, right? He did wear an Afghan coat, but he used to have a plastic banana on a chain around his neck.
Alan, yeah. So they went there.
A plastic banana.
They did the Lesser Free Trade Hall thing. And I think not shortly after that, we booked the Lesser Free Trade Hall.
That was a guy called Steve Taylor booked it.
Yeah.
He used his. He'd come to one of our free gigs, liked it, and he got some compensation from a motorbike accident, and he decided he was going to hire. He put on a gig for us, and he talked to Barry Seddon, Colin's dad, and he booked the Lesser Free Trade Hall. We filled it.
Yeah, but I think how much was the hire? Was not much more than 50 quid or something.
It wasn't a lot.
Yeah. So we actually made a profit.
We made quite a lot of money. I bought a Wah-Wah pedal with my money.
Yeah. I think we all, and there was loads of us, and we all got 20 quid or something. You know? I mean, that was like, way. But I remember we fly posted Manchester, didn't we? With like improvised fly posting with like long.
You did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
we did these long cartoons down the side of the Flea and Firkin and things like that, and we could have got murdered for that. Because like the fly posting thing back then was really sort of tight. You weren't supposed to fiddle with that at all. Yeah. You know, we just went round with a pot of copy decks, sort of doing
You didn't know, did you?
No.
At the time.
This is like 1978.
February '78.
Yeah.
We even got a session on Radio Manchester.
Did you?
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's a terrible interview on radio. I've still got the tape.
You have burn it.
So how did you make your tape? With the tape recorder.
What about this? How did you go about writing this piece of news? Oh, just did it. Don't know. Because we didn't have a clue.
Was that before it became Piccadilly Radio? Or was it?
No, it was on Oxford Road.
Was it a separate station?
No, it's BBC Manchester was on.
Big red building. It's gone now.
Opposite the dance house on Oxford Road. It's only. Well, I say recently demolished, but it's when they built Salford and they moved it to Salford, It was a huge building with like big, massive studios in there. You could get like a whole symphony orchestra in there and everything. And, very important because like BBC Radio Manchester was always your first port of call if you were starting a new project. So we recorded as 808 State, me, Gerald, a guy called Gerald and Martin Price, did a session on BBC Radio Manchester that is now on that pre-build album. It was it was like a real quick, rough and ready kind of session, But they did a lot of Manchester bands had their first session on BBC Radio Manchester. It was pretty important. There's a program called Meltdown.
But local radio generally is good for that sort of thing. Isn't it? I mean, BBC local radio.
I mean, it has a duty to do that, really. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they did. To be fair, they did their duty. So.
No, they had art. They had arts programs, arts magazine programs, all sorts of stuff. It was brilliant. And they had us. Yeah. We weren't brilliant.
Well, let's skip to later in the 90s.
Before that, there's one thing that we've got to mention is Deeply Vale.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because that was very important for us.
Yeah, so one of the first free festivals in this region. There used to be a rock festival at Buxton actually, didn't there?
Yeah, that was you had to buy tickets.
Yeah, that was kind of quite well structured and run. But the word of mouth was there was going to be this free festival in a valley near Rochdale.
Yeah.
And
Rochdale and Barry.
So we all tipped up to that. I think how many years did it run?
Well, it happened I think it happened in 77. We went to the one in 78, and the third one was in 79, and that's when it finished because it all got aggressive.
Shut down. Yeah.
But it was fantastic. It was the first time that I'd ever realised you could do it another way.
Yeah.
Because it was very much, it was organised, but it was organised in a way that meant, that people just did it. I don't know whether Hillage got paid for that gig or not.
Right.
I don't know if anyone got paid to play, but there was free food, done by the Hare Krishna people. I turned up with my girlfriend without a tent, just these plastic emergency bags that you'd get, and then it rained, and then a mate of mine bumped into a friend of mine, and he said, "Oh, we've got a spare tent," so we ended up in a tent.
Yeah.
It was very open.
We slept in a box van.
Yeah.
But it was a totally free festival with totally no facilities. No,
nothing.
You couldn't really buy food. The toilets were shocking.
There were no toilets.
Yeah. No, there was like a stall where you sort of there was a drop of about 14 foot.
Yeah. There were trenches. There were trenches.
Yeah. And it was proper rough and ready, but the lineup was incredible because again, it was that thing where punk met the hippie culture and the reggae culture, all these things, all the subcultures. They didn't differentiate between the subcultures.
Yeah, we were all
anti-establishment or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then there's the story of Sid Rule throwing one of the guys of accident on the East Lancs off stage because he didn't like the punk music.
Oh right. Well, that's
Sid Rule. No, Sid Rule. He was seen as the king of the hippies.
Right.
Well, he was like one of the.
Yeah, but it wasn't Altamont, was it? It was general goodwill.
I tell you what, when I went up to Ruthin, it was like after month, the bikers turned up and they started terrorising everybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
That was
Is it?
79.
Right, yeah, but I just remember it as being the blueprint for what a festival should be, and then I've moaned about them ever since, kind of thing, about how structured and formal we are, because that was just brilliant. And literally, we could just, I think we were on stage. I think I played it 4 times in different bands.
You definitely did Danny and the Dressmakers.
Yeah.
You definitely did Aqua.
Yeah, and Crispy Onions.
Oh, did you? Crispy
I played violin on Crispy Onions. Yeah.
Fantastic. But again, that was another connection to Here and Now, because I borrowed Steffi's amp to play with you.
Yeah,
I'd left the band by this time, but they let me sit in, because it's nice. and there was an announcement, because Colin's mum and dad came with them. There was an announcement saying DS is on site, DS is on Drug Squad, it's on site. And then describe Mr. and Mrs. Sen. It's quite a thing.
Yeah. So since then we've done a couple of the Deeply Vale reunion gigs, haven't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Won't go into that then.
Well, you can do.
But involved hospital, didn't it?
Yeah,
so, we won't go there.
All sorts of. I had a labyrinthitis thing, and I was staying in a hotel down the road. Got out of bed, fell straight over. Got up again, fell straight back, couldn't balance.
Yeah.
But I was all right. They did a couple of brain scans and found that it was working normally. Yeah, but we started doing a duo thing back in, it would have been 94.
No, it was later than that.
I think so. Web 3, it was Billy Whiz. Billy Whiz asked me to do a solo violin thing. He said, bring all your pedals. I said, I haven't got pedals and I can't play it. I said, I've got a mate to play synthesizers. We'll do it as a duo. Okay then. And then I asked you.
I think it was 96.
96 makes sense.
Yeah. And so we started doing that, didn't we? It was a pub in Stoke that we used to go and do because they just invited us. And the thing with us is...
That was John Thompson.
Yeah, we don't really ever say no really, if somebody asks, So we ended up doing quite a few in Stoke. And then we did Manchester Cathedral. And there was this brilliant night in Manchester called Burst Couch, which is really experimental music. A guy called Dave Clarkson was involved in that. Now he's got a band called Scissor Gun with Alan Hempsall, our friend, So some of these are lifelong musicians, they keep doing it. And they used to do a night above the Britain's Protection, for instance, you know what I mean? Like, you get like 10 people in or something, you know what I mean? But it just carried on and on and on.
I used to do my string quartet up there.
Oh, you did that then?
Yeah, the free improvising string quartet.
That was a brilliant project that he did, the improvising string quartet, because I saw you do it at St Anne's Church in St Anne's Square.
Jazz Festival.
Yeah, part of the Jazz Festival. And it's just like a string quartet just sets off and starts swimming.
No tunes, no nothing. That's a lot of the stuff that I do is like that. I like to play with no plan at all and see how the conversation develops. And so I've done that.
Like I've done now, innit?
That's what I said, it's a jazz interview. But, I've done it with piano players, other string players, chunks of what we used to do were like that.
Yeah, it's really scary, Like, for instance, we supported Steve Hillage at the Ritz a few years ago, and we're like, we should rehearse, and it's like, we'll get around to it. It's like, should we rehearse? It's like, we'll get round to it. And then we did the gig, and it's like, it's like jumping off a cliff. Yeah.
Well, the worst one, though, was when we supported Gong at the Nia Centre.
Oh, yeah.
And your computer stopped.
Oh, well, it's an Atari.
20 minutes in, bonk.
Yeah, these were the teething problems of taking computers out. It was pre-laptops, so you used to take a massive chunky computer out, and it invariably went wrong. I could catalogue all the gigs that stopped after 20 minutes. We did an 808 one in Piccadilly 21. And there was like a massive crowd there, and we just ground to a halt after about 20 minutes.
Did you?
Because the computer went... They didn't like moisture and all the dry ice and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
You know,
I tried to do a
because
solo.
they were reading floppy disks
Yeah.
and things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but even my laptop, when I tried to do a solo thing with a laptop
yeah.
at the festival I used to play at, wouldn't work on stage. Did it all at home, perfectly good. Put it on stage, not doing it. Just
They're so much better now.
Yeah.
And there's like people you can hire. A lot of my friends have been in the music business in Manchester for years. Go round attending to big bands' computers,
Roger.
and you see, Roger he lives
near me, yeah.
near him in Buxton, Roger Lyons, and you know you see like it's like he's on another Learjet or something. You know, he's constantly around the world in this sort of glamorous environments kind of thing, and he looks after people's computers, and he has a second one running in case the first one goes down.
Yeah.
But I've never done that, and it's gone down a lot. You know, we supported Happy Mondays once at the one of those warehouse things. And somebody lobbed a can of Guinness at the stage. Some irate Happy Mondays fan that didn't like electronic music.
Yeah.
And there's this massive can of Guinness smashes into the computer. Luckily, we rebooted it and it worked. You know, but.
could have been really, really bad.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
it's-
if it hit you.
Well, electricity and beer.
Yeah.
It's like we were doing this. We did a festival down in France one time. It was when I was playing with Gong, and the sides of there was a roof, but the sides of the stage were open, right, just open. And I said to the French, the stage manager, I said, "Well, what if it rains?" He said, "Oh, it never rains in August here." It rained. Did it rain? And we went off, and people were getting really angry. I said, "Well, we'll die if we carry on. You know, there's 3 inches of water and there's plugs everywhere."
Do you know what one thing I love about doing these videos is that everyone knows each other. Or I don't realise how connected we all are.
Yeah.
That's that 6 degrees thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you see, Graham was talking about Sun Ra earlier on,
Yeah.
and a guy who was in Sun Ra, Marshall Allen, he's with Sun Ra's band forever, wasn't he?
Since the 50s, yeah.
Since the 50s. He stayed at your house.
Yeah, we ended up. In fact, Marshall Allen, he was actually doing a gig in Liverpool, and Paddy Steer was the support band, so that's why we were there.
Yeah.
And instead, like, they was looking for somewhere to stay over in Manchester. And Dave Birchall, who's like another heavy improv guy,
Yeah.
he was supposed to put this band up or something, and something went wrong. And it's like, oh, could they stay at your house? I was like, yes.
Well, you had David as well.
Yeah, so I've had David Allen and Marshall Allen.
And they've worked together.
Yeah.
But I thought it wasn't to do with when they worked together then.
No, that was separate.
That was a separate thing. Right.
But it's same sofa.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of JD Vance now.
Yeah, I can let's look over there. So that's when we got a chimney sweep, because it was like November, and Marshall and his girlfriend, he didn't mention his girlfriend who was staying.
And don't forget this guy's 98 at the time.
No, I think it was 96 at the time.
96, so
Right.
he's in his 90s.
Yeah, so it's like, do you mind if the girlfriend stays or whatever? And we made a fire in the hearth, you know, we got like, and we hadn't had the chimney swept because we never used the fire, and the whole place, we nearly gassed them. Right, so the next week I call the chimney sweep, and we're rehearsing our Sun Ra tribute band, nothing to do with Marshall Allen, we just happened to have one.
It's true.
And we're rehearsing in my house kind of thing. The chimney sweep turns up, and instead like, oh yeah, I forgot, sorry. And instead like, oh, did you play functions and things? You know, he's asking about this band. And it's like, no, we're doing this tribute in Liverpool. It's about this guy who comes from Saturn. And it's like, oh, Sun Ra! The chimney sweep.
Yeah.
Instead like, clued in. Instead like, yeah, weird.
But it's funny how that you're talking about everyone knowing each other and the connections thing. I mean, twice it's happened to me where somebody utterly randomly, right, I was doing a tour of, do you remember Ravi who plays Cora?
Yeah.
Right. Doing a tour of Ireland with this guy who plays Cora, and I met him in the 70s. And we're doing this gig in Dingle, and afterwards a fella comes up to me and says, oh, can I borrow your fiddle? Yeah. We had a bit of a session after the gig, and he was great player. And he said, oh, you're from Manchester? I said, yeah. Do you know a chap called Kershaw? I said, There's hundreds of thousands of people in Manchester. You want me to know a Kershaw? That's like me saying, you're from Belfast, do you know Garage McCann? I said, I know Garage McCann. I went to school with his little brother Liam. Here's his mother's phone number. He's living in Berlin now, and I'm just, dunk. And the second time it happened, it was when I was on doing a narrowboat trip with Tom. When I used to every year used to do a narrowboat trip. And we were going from, he wanted to take me to the pub where he had his first pint, and we moored up where his old school was, and we were starting to walk up this hill, and a car comes screeching round the corner to a halt. A head pops out, says, a bit like Billy Whiz that I told you about in the last one. Where are you going, lads? I'll take you anywhere you want. That's happened twice now. So we get in, and he says, what's going on? Oh, we were going to go to the Walnut Tree. Oh, it's closed. I'll take you to another pub. What are you doing here anyway? Oh, we're on a trip up the river. We're going to go to... I've always wanted to go on a trip up the river. So Tom said to him, if you want to be at Henley Bridge tomorrow at midday, we'll take you to Reading. He was there. Random stranger. Started talking. He said, oh, you're a musician? Yes. I knew a musician once. I wonder if you know him. A bass player, Phil France. I said, yeah, I know Phil France. And they shared a flat together back in the day. So it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's smaller than you realise sometimes the scene, isn't it? In Manchester. I've lost track of the time now. I think we're
quite a lot longer than you expected.
I don't even know how long we've done. So I don't know how to end it now.
Well, yeah, it needs to be a binge-worthy series on Netflix. But
yeah.
Just snip a little bit out here and there.
Yeah. So thanks so much for.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Absolute joy.
Bye.